you ready? Very good. Hello everyone and welcome back to the sewing room. I am Marie of Historical Belle and this is Lucky, the best sewing supervisor ever. And today I am beginning a giant project, and that is our costumes for Versailles. So if you've been following along on my Instagram or I have a TikTok now too, but I don't know. I'm there sometimes. I'm still mostly on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, but you know that because you're watching it. And if you have been following along there, then you know that my friends and I are going to be going to Marie Antoinette a Petit Trianon, and we got tickets for that. But what you might not know, I don't know if I've shared this yet, is we also got tickets for Fête Galante. We thought we weren't going to be able to go because we didn't get them in the initial round, but then we put our names on the wait list and we were able to get the whole transfer thing done and situated. So we now also have tickets for Fête Galante, and I am over the moon excited. I don't think I've processed yet that I'm going to go do that. It's wild. It is a dream come true. I have wanted this for a decade. Ever since I realized that this is a thing that you can do, I was like, oh my gosh, one day I want to do that when I have grown-up money. And I do now. I'm a grown-up and I make money and I save it and I do cool things with it. So I need to make costumes for myself and my husband for this insanely amazing, ridiculous, awesome event. And yeah, we're going to start doing that. So if you watched my video about what I'm going to make this year, I talked a little bit about this, and so you're already in the know because you're a super fan. Thank you. And my husband, I'm going to make him a court outfit, and of course I'm also going to make myself an outfit, probably a robe à la française, that in blue, and for him I'm making him an embroidered court outfit. I now might be making double, two of each of those, because now we have two events, a night back to back. One Sunday night and then one's Monday night. And then before that, I think we're also going to another event at the Vieux-le-Vicomte, and I think I also need an outfit for that, but I don't know what the dress code is yet. So anyway, I'm definitely taking 3 outfits to France, and I'm very excited. So I have actually already done an embroidery test for my husband's embroidered vest. So today I did a test swatch of the embroidery that I'm going to do on my husband's waistcoat for his 18th century outfit, and I absolutely adore how these turned out. They're preset in my machine, and then I just chose the colors. This is just a scrap fabric. I've actually made 2 dresses, a Regency ball gown and an 1880s ball gown out of this fabric, and I still have more of it. It's from absolutely forever ago, and I still have enough, definitely enough to make a vest and probably a few other things, but smaller things. And I'm so happy with how this turned out. Now, I tried doing this one, and I did not like the dark green that I chose for the stem here. Instead, I'm going to go with the light green that I chose for this stem here. And then I think I need to tighten the whole thing up a little bit more. I was worried about embroidering over each other, but this is so tiny. I think I'm going to move this up just a little bit so this leaf is pointing right here, and then have this just kind of tightened up a little bit, move this down a little bit, because if it embroiders over this a little bit, that's okay. And then it kind of all looks like one where they're touching, because right now I think it's just a little too spaced, there's too much of a gap here. But yeah, otherwise I really like how this one turned out, and I did with my mid green and then kind of this yellowish, goldish, brownish color. I think it just adds a little something, a little pop of color, and then white for the veins. I love how this blue and darker blue turned out. I love these little white, little dotty plants, and then the pink on the pink still looks really good. Almost looks white, but anyway, I really love this. Since I did spend a long time embroidering this today, I'm actually going to make this into a cute ridicule so that I have now a matching little purse for my Regency ball gown that I'll take to the next Regency ball. And I might use it for other things too, but for right now that's what I'm going to do with this at some point. I don't know exactly when, probably the night before the next ball, because that's how I function. We wanted to make sure that the embroidery came out like we had hoped, with all the different colors and how it looked on the fabric. So I used the scrap fabric that I had of this piece, and then, because I already have it, it was actually it's right here. We're going to use this for the vest. And I actually already had this green, well, I bought it from the silk section, but I think it's a blend. And for that, I already had it, but because I was going to make something else with it, and I thought I needed more, but then I didn't need that much, so then I think I can also I can get a jacket and pants out of that easy. And then for his outfit, it's going to be the green jacket, pink vest, green breeches, with all of the accessories as required. But those are main parts that I'm going to be making, and I'm very excited. I'm modeling this look after a extant garment that is in, I think. So I found this reference image in the book How to Read a Suit. It is called the Macaroni Ensemble. It is dated to 1770s to 1780s, and it is from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art in Los Angeles, California. By the 1770s, we're seeing more stylish men wear a different color waistcoat than their suit, which was more popular earlier in the century. And also we see here an embroidered French suit coat, which I'm also going to be doing embroidery on this, which that extant garment does not have, but would have been, you would have almost like not had to have this to be at court at Versailles in the 1770s. But let's be real, who's going to show up without it and like be the best dressed? My husband is ridiculously excited about this, as am I, and yeah, that's going to be my first project, is starting the embroidery on that, so that way I can like make other things while I'm watching the embroidery machine go. So that's why we're starting that first. And I also already have fabric for my dress, the blue dress, and I'm thinking of wearing that to the Trianon and then doing something else for Fête Galante. I'm thinking about getting myself some like purple silk, because lavender is my favorite color, and I think a lavender robe a la Francaise would be amazing. So there's that. I'm thinking about just purpling it out. And I'm not sure what I would do for my husband's second outfit for Versailles. And then we have other outfits that we could use for the event that's going to be on Saturday. So I'm not as worried about that. I'm going to worry more about these outfits for Versailles, and then if I have time, worry about something else. That's currently my plan. I am insanely excited about this. All of my outfits are going to be like from the 1770s, and because that's like Marie Antoinette. And like, I know, like, okay, so we are going to go and we're going to like basically pretend to be really fancy rich people who get like killed by the guillotine in 10 years, which is like a little like, yeah. But it's like a little bit like of a fantastical thing in my mind as well. But also it's it is a celebration of French culture. And like that is part of French culture. And I do think Marie Antoinette gets a bad rap. I have always been sympathetic to Marie Antoinette because we share our first name. So when I learned that there was a Queen of France that also had my name and she was super famous, I was like, well, obviously she's the coolest and my favorite. Duh. And then I was like, oh, was she like actually a good queen? Was she a bad queen? Was she just a queen? And, you know, with all of that encompassing a person of her time, we can make all sorts of judgments about history. I actually, at my old work, got to do a really awesome podcast with a Marie Antoinette scholar. So it went on for so long because I had so many questions, and she was so amazing to talk to that it ended up being a 2-part special. And I'm going to, if it's still on air, if it's still up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to link that down in my bio. This was a lady who's like I said, she's a Marie Antoinette scholar. I was so honored that she did this podcast with me for my old work, and please go give it a listen. You'll learn so much. I learned so much while getting to speak to her. So if you're interested in like Marie Antoinette and Versailles and like all of these things, please go ahead and check that out. So yeah, but I'm extremely excited to go and get to do this, because what an experience. Like, this is the type of like little time travel blips that I live for, and I will of course be documenting the making of all these outfits and the going to the place, so that you can come along with me, because that's super fun and I want to share it. So yeah, I feel like I'm rambling. I'm so excited but also nervous to start these costumes, because it's such a big project, and like I want it to be so good. Like, this is like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. It's like with my wedding dress, you know, it's like a once in a lifetime kind of like event. So I'm super like excited and nervous because I want to get it right and I want it to be so good. Yeah. And also, I've never been to Versailles. I have been to Paris before, about 5 years ago, and it was quite the experience. I have a vlog about it, which I did not detail all of the behind the scenes of that. It's a miracle that we all lived. And my friend Brianna and I have a holiday called Vive la France, where we celebrate how we lived through that Paris adventure. And it's wild. So this is hopefully not going to be as insane of a trip, in like the oh my gosh, how are we going to survive this kind of situation, but it's going to be very fun. We're going to spend a few days in Paris, then go out to Versailles, and then go out to the French countryside. So it'll be amazing, and I just worked on the itinerary, and it's looking good. It's looking real good. I guess I should get sewing. For this garment, I am using Butterick pattern 3072, which I have used once before, and it is more of a costume pattern, so I will be making modifications to it so that it will be more historically accurate, but the shape of it is perfect. It's kind of hard to mess up an 18th century vest silhouette, as it is pretty simple. It has the ever so slightly could be turned in like what's starting to be a lapel of the vest, and then it's cut away at the waist in a slanted line going down to the bottom, and which then has a hard line all the way around, but except just on the back side has a little wing out on most of them. And that is what I will be doing. The pockets of this also are not functional, but we're going to make them functional. My husband loves some pockets, and he needs to be my pockets, because even though my dress in this century does have tie-on pockets. So I am using fabric that I have had forever, like literally over 10 years or so. I've had this fabric. I've made multiple outfits out of it, and now it gets to be one more thing, which is so fun. And I did some test embroidery already. These are the preset designs that I am using for my embroidery project that come with my Brother embroidery machine. I made a few updates since my test embroidery, and now we are embroidering the front panels. The front panels took 1, 2, 3 repetitions, 2 going on the center front, 1 on the bottom, and then I had to do like this kind of weird makeup thing on that slanted part that's going from the waist to the bottom. Lucky absolutely loves the embroidery machine. She likes it when I leave the thread drawer out, and then that becomes her little bed, and she likes to hide under the embroidery, and she has like a little cave. She is the most excited about all embroidery projects, and she might be the only one who still really likes the embroidery machine after all of these projects, because this took so long. Each repetition took about 45 minutes according to the embroidery machine, which really means it took like an hour and a half in real time. So this is how it's going so far. I'm absolutely in love with this pattern and how it is popping on this waistcoat. I am ecstatic to see how the rest of this is going. So far I did this section last night, I did this section tonight. It took me, well, it's hard to say because I've also been working on this dress year outfit while I've been doing it. But I do like that I can get like one hoop done in evening, and that feels like pretty solid. I feel pretty good about how I lined this one up. I was off by like half, I don't know, not even, like 1/4 of an inch right here, for how it looks for on these. But because I purposefully rotated this ever so slightly, so it's not the same, because it does have a slight angle here at the top, and I wanted that to accommodate for it, I think you can't really tell. And especially once I put buttonholes and buttons on here, no one's going to realize it. But yeah, I'm now getting down to the end here where it starts to curtail in. I'm trying to decide if I can, it's a little more than a, oops, yeah, it's not going to quite fit, I think, right here. I'm concerned. I might try to hoop that up and see what happens. But yeah, I'm going to do something here. I also have a smaller hoop that I might go back and do something here. But then I'm definitely going to do something down here. This same thing, but just this way. Right there. Let's see how that goes. And then I might come back and try to fill in with something here. But yeah, this is going so well. I'm so excited.
She's back at it. She is the guardian of the embroidery. Truly, I need someone to guard my embroidery, because this piece, I had put so much time and love and effort into it that I don't want anything bad to happen to it ever. So here's the little gap that I had to fill between the 3 repetitions of the hoop. And I thought I might be able to use my smaller hoop. I was not. I ended up using my same large hoop, but just using one of the larger floral and then one of my small leaflet to continue the pattern. Here I am making sure it all lines up. My embroidery machine has where you can kind of trace the outline of where it's going to go, and I traced everything so much when I hooped it up, and then tried to place it all correctly so it all lined up correctly. Of course, I'm recreating historical garments, and this would have been done by hand, and they are not machines, so not everything would have been perfect for them either. But I want it to look really good, because when I look at some of these embroidery examples that I see in museums, like, oh my gosh, like these are masters at their craft. And I want it to look good because we're going to Versailles, which is like, honestly, like one of the costumes events. Like, I feel like you have to bring your A game, like A game, like A+ game. That is being embroidered. I got to know the sounds of my embroidery machine and know if it was being upset by its sounds, because even though the embroidery machine did mess up like a couple times, I was able to stop it pretty fast and get it reset. I also went through so much thread, especially the green thread, the light green and dark green thread. I went through several spools, and they're all 1,100 yards each, so just, it's a lot of embroidery.
All right, so this is going to be the last bit of embroidery that I'm going to do. I thought originally for the pocket here, flap, that I was not going to be able to put the embroidery on it that matches the one that's going to be on the edge. But after looking at this, I was like, actually, I think we can do it. And I think I'm going to get 2 pockets in here. It's going to be like really tight in the middle, but I think we can do it. I'm going to put the big thing here in the middle, and then the floral in the middle, and then the leaves on either side facing in. And then that is our last bit of embroidery for the waistcoat.
So I decided to do a slightly different motif design for the pocket flaps. when I look at a lot of these vests and a lot of these jackets, a lot of times the pockets have an ever so slightly different design, but still very much echoes what's going on in the front. So also just for like design and look, this is what I decided to do. So it has one of the larger floral clumps in the middle, and then it is flanked on either side by two of the little leaflets, and I have them going in, so they're kind of like pointing up towards the center, the larger of the motifs, and then coming out. In design, I'm thinking about the rule of threes and just how aesthetically this would look on the pocket, which is not really going to be seen because the jacket's going to be kind of hovering like right over the middle of it, but you're still going to see the top of it. I thought about maybe not embroidering the pockets or the pocket flaps, but then I thought, no, this is Versailles. We have to embroider the pocket flaps. I'm just already stressed for time because I have so much to make for this. And I'm also just trying to save some fabric here. I was like, yep, I can make that work. I can make this happen. And I did. So, which is one, because trying to hoop up the embroidery, it takes a while to cut out the backing, to get the hoop situated, to get everything situated right. Here I am cutting out the back lining and the back outer fabric of the vest. It is both going to be linen. I see on a lot of extant garments, you have the really nice like silk fronts, and then the back is not the same. It's either a white silk or it's a linen, or, well, depending on what the outer fabric was made out of, because the outer fabric could have been linen, wool, or silk. Those are like the three main ones. Cotton, we don't see it a lot until 1793, when Eli Whitney invents the cotton gin and makes cotton easier to produce textile that then increases the amount of enslaved labor used to harvest that textile, generally across the American South. That's what I'm working with. I don't know the exact fiber content of this fabric that I've had forever. I think it's like kind of pinkish. Other people were calling it purple. I really think it's a magenta. If I had to pick a word to describe it, I think magenta is the most apt color name. Here I am trimming all of the corners for my lovely little pocket flaps. For the backing of my pocket flaps, I have also used some more of the pretty magenta fabric because you're going to see that, and I want it to look nice. But for the pocket lining, I just used some more of the linen. And then here you will also see me lining up the pocket flap to lining up with the linen. I didn't have a pattern for this. I just kind of made it up. Well, I did have a pattern for the pocket flap, but not for the lining. The lining didn't exist in the original pattern. And then I'm here cutting out my embroidered fabric, which, whew, that was nerve-wracking. That was so nerve-wracking. And then I'm taking out all of the stitches, and I cut out the reverse of it too, which I laid out the embroidery, and I wanted to make sure that it all matched up as perfectly as I possibly could get it. Talk about some intense pattern matching, but I did it. I'm really proud of how well this matches. I worked really hard on it. The lining of this embroidered section is also going to be magenta because I don't want it to peep out a different color, and I have enough fabric for it. And that seems to be generally what they would have done. It's hard to see the inside of garments. I wish more museums included photos of those. That would be fantastic. So now that I have the pocket flaps done, I need to go ahead and add them to the front panels before I create a lining, because we're going to sandwich those pockets into the lining itself. We don't want to see those. So cutting a line in this fabric was one of the hardest things that I have ever done, because what if I messed up? I have just spent so much time embroidering this. I did so much math. I did so much double checking. And there we went. I cut a line. I inserted the pocket, turned it inside out, sewed around it, and then turned it right sides out. So then you don't see any of the seams from the front. They're all going to be hidden in the lining. And then I hand stitched the pocket flap on top of it. And I did a back stitch, which is nice and strong and will have a nice line across it as well, because I want to make sure pocket flaps have a lot of stress on them and I don't want it to come undone. Now it is time to attach my front embroidered panels to the back outer panel. You'll see that I also have a cut of the center of the center back panel. It is cut as one piece, but I do have a slit up the back. I'm doing that not because the pattern said to, but because I've seen extant garments that do have a line up the back, which allow for an expanding waistline of a man. And then you would have ties that go in the back that can also shrink it or let it expand as much as necessary while still giving it a fitted look. And then I'm also shortening it. Most of the ones that I have seen that are extant don't come down all the way. It's only the front that has kind of the lower panels where the pockets and the embroidery are, and then the back is kind of shorter, because otherwise, like, that would be weird when you sit down. It would kind of like, anyway, it would get in the way of your breeches. So I shortened that, added a slit. I've also seen some that have like lacing, so a man could be like laced into it. I went for ties. I think they are easier. I am pressed for time. And also, my husband is so skinny that there are not a lot of men's patterns that come in his size because he's too small. So I have to do a lot of fitting or gathering, and the ties are going to help us just kind of cinch everything in and make it fit, because adjusting is what we're good at. So I connected the front panels to the back panels for the outside of the garment, and then did the same thing for the inside of the garment, sewing them at the side seams and the shoulder seams. I feel like I've been working on this outfit for like forever, but I haven't like sewn anything. This is the first time I'm sewing anything. And if I was just sewing this and not actually doing the embroidery on it as well, oh my gosh, this would have gone so fast. But I'm extra like that. So here we are. I think I might be sewing the ties on to the back right there. I think that's might be what I'm doing. I'm not positive, but I'm doing something. I'm working on the vest, and I am also trying to embroider the coat panel, and I'm also trying to entertain my cat, and never have I felt like I've been more multitasking in my life. So I sewed all of the vest together, and then I left the back open so that I could reverse it and flip it out, since you sew everything right sides together and then you need to flip it somewhere. So I flipped it in the back, and now I'm top stitching the back opening together. And here I am marking for buttonholes. Buttonholes were a whole thing. Also, Lucky really loved this vest, and she like kept wanting to go through the armholes. Like she was going to wear this vest, which, I mean, it would look great on her. I do think a tiny like cat vest would look fantastic on her if she would actually wear it. But I also think she was just wanting to play. And I was so terrified that she would put little claw marks into this fabric. Oh, but she's so happy destroying things. Thankfully, she did not mess up the fabric, but I did have to kind of have to put a stop to the playing with the fabric and provide her some other options to play with. So here I am marking where the buttonholes are going to be, and then I'm using an awl to start the buttonhole, and then I'm going to do a little snip, make sure the button can pass through, and then I'm going to do a buttonhole stitch all the way around. Yes, I'm hand doing the buttonholes. It's going to take a while, but I do feel like it's really worth it. I was really scared of my sewing machine doing modern buttonholes over this embroidery and getting it wrong, and then me crying a lot, like a lot, And it's not unheard of for my buttonhole on my machine to be a little finicky. And usually it's fine and I can work with that. But not on this. Not after all of this embroidery. And also, if I'm trying to elevate my historical authenticity, his hand-done buttonholes would have been like the only way to do buttonholes in the 1700s. So we'll chalk it up to some authenticity there too. Also, shout out to anyone who clocked the pattern of my dress as the same pattern as Kirsten, the American Girl Doll's meat dress. You are my people, and I appreciate you. So the buttonholes are one of the last things that I did, and then my wonderful husband, he is my button sewer honor. He is great at sewing on buttons, and that was his job for all of the things that we were taking to France. So that was absolutely wonderful that I did not have to think about that. And then I just handed it to him and said, "Buttons, please." He looked absolutely stunning in his outfit. I am so pleased with how the whole ensemble came together. I made the jacket and the waistcoat and the breeches. Tattoos and lace made the wig. And we purchased the shirt, cravat, and socks from Samson Historical. I'll be showing how I made the other parts of this outfit in the next vlog, so please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, please leave me a nice comment down below. I love hearing from people, and until next time, I hope you have a great day.